Good afternoon, accountants and other participants of this conference. I'm very delighted and thankful for yet another opportunity extended to me by CPA PNG and CPA Australia. I'm thankful to the respective presidents for giving me this opportunity. I know that the program today is all about transforming different sectors, and I believe that you have a fair idea of what transformation means and how transformation is occurring in different sectors under subdued and difficult times that we have now. I have been asked to talk about transformation of Papua New Guinea's taxation system, and that is such a very onerous topic for our dissection today, given the time limitations that we have. But I will try my best to at least give you some brief outline of what's happening at PNG IRC. PNG IRC, like every other tax administration in the world, is taking a phased transformation, and it will take some time for all the fruits of whatever the reform activities to be fully realized. For IRC, a number of projects we initiated under the medium-term revenue strategy of 2018, and a number of other projects that has been happening are still continuing, including the 1959 Income Tax Act, which many of you have contributed towards revising, and it's going to the final stages before it is passed. I'm afraid to say that I'm not sure it will be passed in the coming budget, but it will definitely be passed. That's a significant piece of reform that's happening. The Tax Administration Act was passed, but it is pending some consequential amendments that we hope that's passed in the coming budget. Now, this year we have initiated more than 30 new projects to transform IRC into a robust, modern and efficient tax administration by year 2025. Those projects are pillared around 6 key areas. And on the screen you will see the key pillars of reform that we are initiating. Those are project-based activities that we have initiated, and aside from delivering on our core mandate of collecting tax revenue for the government. As many of you are aware, IRC contributes about 80% of the total revenue that the government uses to fund the budget. The revenue projections for IRC are usually predicated on the assumption that there is unrestricted compliance activities and increasing business activities. However, the coronavirus pandemic has undermined these budget assumptions and placed an unprecedented strain on IRC's ability to collect taxes. We have observed that in collecting outstanding tax debts, we are competing against or competing for the same available cash in the hands of the businesses. We are aware that many businesses would rather use the cash to stay alive and stay in business than paying the taxes, and that's sometimes the reality. But in terms of meeting our revenue projection, this poses a potential area of risk. We are also aware that businesses in their endeavors to stay afloat, they also consider that paying taxes is the last thing on their mind. So this also poses a lot of risks. We have also observed that a lot of micro and small businesses are struggling to keep up with their routine tax obligations. We are aware that many employees in the private sector have left employment. They have been made redundant, or they have been discharged from their employment as businesses move into cost-cutting measures. Some of those dismissed employees probably looking for new and better employment opportunities, whilst others are using their savings probably to start up some business, but then they have to also comply with tax obligations. So having all of these immediate pressures and restrictions and challenges that businesses are going through, We have also realized that it will impose a lot of revenue risk in that space. So we have initiated a number of immediate steps, but the first of all is for us as an organization, we have to take a very important step, and that step is to develop a risk management strategy and a business continuity plan, which we developed, and we are religiously implementing it. We've had a number of COVID-19 cases in our own organization. As I'm speaking to you now, we have had about 21 cases in the last 3 weeks, but we haven't shut down our operation. Our core business continues uninterrupted, and that is because we have that robust mechanism to identify the risk and isolate it and allow our core business to continue. So that's something that we did right from the beginning to manage the risks brought on by COVID-19. So as an organization, we haven't had any casualties, meaning no deaths so far. We haven't shut down our operation so far. So that's what happened in the area of managing the immediate risks posed by COVID-19. We've also initiated a number of projects to ensure that revenue is not compromised. We've initiated the Section 65A in the GST collections. It's a reverse charging, a withholding arrangement that we've done. So far it has produced over 110 million guineas since we launched it. We've configured that in the IFMS system, and we are collecting it directly from the IFMS system. We are hoping that the current hacking that has taken place is resolved quickly so that that system is continues uninterrupted as well. Now we've also initiated another project, which is a debt swapping project. There are a lot of businesses that are struggling to settle their legacy tax issues, and sometimes it so happens that some of the taxpayers, they come and tell us that, look, we are waiting for the government to pay us, and the government, they are chasing the government chases us, we chase the taxpayer, so it's a vicious cycle sort of thing. So what we've done so far is to initiate another strategy, which is a debt swapping arrangement. So far, we've collected about 105 million kina concerning one taxpayer alone as a SOE, and that has proved to be successful. So we are looking at rolling that out to other businesses that are struggling to settle their legacy tax. If they have credit somewhere else, we can offset it in that space. We are also introducing a series of collection at source mechanisms, including the prescribed royalty withholding taxes that is producing sustainable and on-time revenue for the government. And in the area of the GST credits offset against unverified GST credit offset against salary wages tax, we've seen the sustainable revenue being collected in that space, which we've collected about 30 million every month. That has cushioned a lot of revenue shortfalls that we would have had if we didn't do that. So that's a significant step as well. I know many of you have some reservations for that particular intervention, but look, we are doing what we can to rescue revenue decline. We also have, during the COVID period, we've expedited the introduction and rollout of the small business tax regime, like I mentioned. There's a lot of people who are doing startups, and the budding businesses require us to provide relief and reduce the compliance burden. In the area of small business tax, we have actually reduced the compliance burden substantially. and also creating a platform where those who have just left employment and want to start up a small business, they can also take advantage of that particular mechanism that we are offering. So those are some of the immediate interventions we've done, and so far those immediate interventions are yielding good results. We are looking at more of fixing a number of revenue leakage areas to arrest revenue, as well as closing in on the tax gap that we have. So at the moment, as a consequence of all of this, we are seeing or we are tracking above 100% of the year-to-date revenue projections, and we are on course to meet the revenue original budget target for this year, which is about 8.1 billion kina. Now, having said that, when challenges like this, emerging challenges like this, is brought on by COVID, nobody has anticipated it. But as a CEO of a revenue generation entity, if my revenue or sales is declining, then I need to re-strategize our resources. We have to identify areas that are inefficient, move away from inefficient areas and start investing in making productive investments to improve capacity and areas where we can actually make savings and mitigate revenue loss. We've also, as part of our reform, what we have is at the executive level, we have a bird's eye view of how much revenue is coming in from which taxpayer, from where on a daily basis, and it refreshes every 5 seconds. And what appears on your screen is what I have at my fingertips. And as a revenue generating entity, or if you're running a SOE, or if you're running a money-making entity, your pulses should be on the sales. If sales is dropping, you should be terminated. There's no reason why you should be continue to be employed. That's how I see myself. So what we have done as part of the reforms that we are doing at IRC is I always monitor revenue on a daily basis, and if we anticipate some revenue for this week and it's not coming in, then I quickly ask around who's supposed to bring that money in, and we make calls and so forth. So that's what's appearing on your screen is just a snapshot of what is on my dashboard every single day. And that facility, I can travel anywhere in the world, but I still have access to that dashboard report as and when I feel like. So moving into, having said that, moving into the future with COVID, it appears that COVID is not going away. So in a constrained environment like the present, digital technology and data analytics appear to be the way forward. They will compensate for most of the manual and physical work that tax administrations traditionally do to generate revenue. And this is where the future is moving into. So this is where IRC aspires, not only is aspiring, but taking measured steps to in that direction. We are investing in measured digital transformation. We are investing in a digital architecture that provides a ecosystem with interoperability capabilities that provides that platform for efficiency, and also that also makes it easy for us to harness the mass data that we have. And with that also, we are looking at using data insights to leverage tax collections. So that's the future that we want to move into. In that space, in the digital space, we are looking forward to procuring the integrated tax administration system, which is at the final stages of the procurement process. We are looking forward to procuring that next year. We are also looking at, or we've already initiated a project called the Gms Project, which is the GST monitoring system. So that is a project to introduce a collection at source mechanism in all the cash registers, just like what the Fiji tax authority does. So we are looking at introducing that next year. In the meantime, we anticipate to launch our first ever online payment and lodgement portal by the end of December. In the next 2 or 3 weeks' time, we will be launching the payment portal. So taxpayers will be sitting in the comfort of your office or using the whatever gadgets that you have, either iPad or mobile phone, whatever it is, to access our system and pay and lodge online. There is a response to COVID. I mean, it could have taken a bit of time, but because of COVID, it has compelled us to move into that space. And as other people say, there's bad sides to COVID, but there's also good sides that COVID has brought us to move into that space. So aside from that, while we are moving into the digital space, we also acknowledge that we have challenges. Securing the right kind of talents and skill sets in that digital space remains a challenge for this country, because most of these skills are in short supply. So we will also be looking at developing some of the skill sets at our organization. We will still have other emerging challenges. So what we are doing at IRC is we are redesigning our organizational structure to give the organization the necessary agility to address emerging challenges going forward. Ladies and gentlemen, this brings me to the end of my talk. I will be available for any questions. Thank you once again for the opportunity, and I wish you all a COVID-free event. Thank you.